Dryfire is a critical part of your training. Let's talk about the Uprange accoutrements. Here's your armed citizen meme of the week. Screen cap it, crop it, and send it to everyone you know.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Now, let's get on with the content. Dryfire is really a critical part of your training. For every live round, a professional shooter like Lucas Botkin, Rob Epifania, Jerry Mikulik, Ben Stoger, and all the others, they pulled the trigger in Dryfire at least 10 times. Everything I will talk about in this video has a link in the notes below so you can check them out for yourselves. The bad news is Dryfire is not the be-all and end-all. No skill, drill, or tool really is. You need all of them. Shooting is like boxing. You can train all day, every day on the heavy bag and the speed bag, do your footwork, do your workouts. But to get good at boxing, you have to climb into the ring and start throwing and taking punches. Dryfire is where you start, and it's a supplement to keep your edge with your live fire. Now, you can spend anywhere from $0 to thousands of dollars on your Dryfire setup. That all depends upon your budget and what you want to train and how you want to train and what kind of data, if any, you are looking to capture, and so on and so on and so on. Etc., etc., etc. In this video, I will give a broad overview of the Uprange components, or basically the stuff in your hands. In the next video, I will talk about the downrange aspects, the things you will be aiming at and shooting. With all Dryfire, always be safe. Ideally, you should dedicate a room to be your Dryfire range and make it an ammo-free zone. No live rounds go in there at all. Unload and clear your weapon before you take it in. Pick an exterior wall to be your backstop. You don't want to be pointing into your child's room and pressing the trigger at all. Hopefully, your backstop does not have a neighbor's house just on the other side of that wall either. I understand most of that isn't going to happen if you're renting in like an apartment. Make do with what you have. All I'm asking is you are always safe and don't scare the roommates or family when you practice. With the right Uprange tools, you can practice your draw, your aim, your trigger press, your target transitions, reloads, and more. Before I actually begin, just wanted to let you know I have no sponsorships or discount codes for anything I will talk about in this video. These are my opinions, observations, and experienced, unbiased by any external source or company. All prices I state are on their respective websites as of August 2025. Now, all you really need to Dryfire with zero budget is your verified empty weapon and a couple of 3x5 cards, which you probably already have, or you can easily filch from your office supplies room at work. Some people suggest the light switch. However, that usually means you're pointing into your house instead of outwards. Tape the 3x5s on your backstop wall 2 to 3 feet apart. Step about 6 feet away from the wall, aim and press the trigger. Press it like you would in live fire. because you don't have the flashbang recoil of a live round, you'll get to easily see what your front sight is doing during that trigger press. There is a be careful moment here, not due to safety, but rather to train your motor cortex incorrectly. Unless you're using a revolver or a double action, single action pistol, such as my CZP-07, you'll need to rack your slide to reset your trigger. My suggestion is to pull the trigger once and then slap or fully extend and compress your finger like you're pulling the trigger. You can do your transitions and reloads normally, you just won't get the full trigger press experience. You can do something like take a cable tie and run it through the barrel, which will keep the weapon out of battery, and the trigger press will not, shall we say, hold. It won't go back and stay back. To me, it's a poor substitute, but I suggest it because you could be okay with it. The first tool you can get, which is also free, is a par timer app for your smartphone. You'll use it to give you a start and stop beep. It will also automatically reset as many times as you want. This is great for draw and reload practice. For draw, you start on the first beep and you should have your sights on target and trigger pressed before the second beep. Same with reloads. Start extended. On the beep, perform a reload and get the trigger press in before the second beep. Before I start on this, not all uprange laser emitting devices will work with all downrange laser detecting targets. Please do your research before plunking down your cash on any uprange or downrange product. The first tool you can buy is a pink rhino laser. This tool runs about $40 to $50 and is a battery-powered chamber laser that comes in multiple calibers. When you pull the trigger, the firing pin hits the button on the back, which flashes a laser dot where a bullet would have hit. For semi-automatics, it doesn't have an extraction rim, so it doesn't eject when you cycle the slide. It has O-rings to keep it in chamber, and you use an unsharpened pencil or dowel, nothing sharp, that fits down the barrel to knock the laser out of the weapon. The bad news is you have to rack the slide to reset your weapon to get the laser to appear again. Some beginner packages, such as the iTarget Pro or Strikeman, comes with one of these. I personally have three. One in here on my Dryfire range, one in my office for a few quick reps, and the third is if I lose either. I use this when practicing my DA trigger pull in my CZP-07. G-Sight also sells or resells, I'm not sure, two similar products, the Quantum for $40 and the Elms Plus for $60. I know nothing about them other than what's on their website. I tell you about them because these might work for you better than the pink rhinos. The next thing is the Dryfire mag. This basically locks into the weapon and gives you the full trigger press experience every time. It's twice as hard the first time because you're fighting both, but then you get the full trigger press experience every time. It is adjustable, so you can adjust the strength of the trigger press. You can get a basic one of those for about $100. If you want a laser for it, that will run you about $300. The basic Dryfire mag will not work with a pink Rhino laser. I use my Dryfire mag when all I want to do is practice trigger pressing. I actually keep it slightly heavier than my Glock trigger pull, so it feels a little easier when I do live fire. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the content so far. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, please let me know by hitting that like button. When you do that, it helps get this content to others and inspires me to keep producing content. While we're clicking on things, hit that subscribe button to help grow this channel and turn on notifications so you know when one of my new videos shows up. I appreciate all comments, so please tell me if you think I'm spot on or way off. If you really like this video, hit share and post it on your social media. Okay, back to me. If you want the best of all of what I've already talked about, plus a bit more, a CERT, or shot indicating resetting trigger tool, is the recommended tool. These start at $380 and is everything I've talked about in one package. For $515, you can get a CERT that is cut so it's optics ready. This is fantastic for dry fire, as you can train without worrying about recoil. Grip it like it's going to recoil like a live round and press the trigger to your heart's content. This has no moving parts other than the trigger and the magazine. It has a red slide, so you can tell at first glance this is a non-functional weapon. It has two lasers. The first one is optional. You can turn it on or off from a switch on the top. This one appears when you hit the wall on your trigger, and the second one appears when you've actually pulled the trigger and you would get an actual live bang. And you can adjust the strength of the trigger pull. This allows you to draw, take as many shots as you want, and reload using pre-weighted magazines. Word of warning, do not let these magazines drop directly onto a hard surface because they will break after repeated drops. Use a table in front of you to break the fall, or some kind of pillow or thick blanket on the floor. The best possible option is a pillow or blanket on the table. Magazines are $3, or you get 3 magazines for $60, basically $20 each. This works with most, but not all, downrange laser detecting tool, and this is my number 1 training aid. My number 2 training tool, when I want recoil in my dry fire, I pull out my cool fire system. Video number 71 is a 23-minute dissertation on this system. The absolute minimum for a system is $550. Go watch that video after you finish with this one. Something that comes with the cool fire are these TRTs, or tap rack tool. It goes into the magazine of your weapon and depresses the follower so the magazine can be empty and you can still rack the slide without it going into slide lock. I know nothing about these laser ammo stuff other than they exist. I present them to you as options. Laser ammo has their own version of a cool fire and a CERT. Their recoil-enabled training devices use the magazine as the tank, and you can use green gas, which is flammable, and some places on their website, but not others, says you can also use CO2. This is a complete firearm, no drop-in like the cool fire, and run about $425 and come with 1 magazine. The training mags, additional tanks basically, are $55 each. If you're looking to track and measure the quality of your trigger pull, The tool I suggest and the tool that I use is the Mantis X. I have both the X3 and the X10. They look identical. The X3 will set you back about $170 and the X10 will set you back about $250. The only difference is the X10 can handle pistol draws. Both of these are designed to clip where a light would go on your pistol and then Bluetooth to an app on your phone. You don't need an actual target or laser, as all this does is measure the movement of the weapon during the trigger press. It has multiple objective drills that if you complete all of them in order, they send you a tear-off patch for free. These are the ones that I've earned so far. It grades every trigger pull and offers suggestions if you're not perfect. It also shows a little video of your muzzle movement before and after the trigger press. This works with both live and dry fire. If your holster can't handle a light, you can glue a pick rail to the bottom of a magazine and mount the X10 there for drawing from your holster. There's a whole online community in that app for you to share your results for either Bravos or booze. Not booze as in alcohol, but booze as in boo. The bad news for the Mantis X is it can be a little persnickety. This means if you use it on your cert or with your Dryfire mag, the Mantis tends to pick up the trigger release as a second shot. I just found out they added a new feature so you can set it so it will ignore these trigger releases. The Mantis X is also very hard when grading you. I'm either really bad at trigger pressing or it's scoring me like my drafting teacher, Mr. Scully, did way back in high school. Zero room for error. If you are like me, I also love to do dry fire with my AR-15. My number one AR-15 dry fire tool is the Mantis Blackbeard. It runs $220. You can get a Blackbeard X for $320, which combines the Mantis X into the battery pack, which is also the magazine on the Blackbeard. If you have an X3 or X10, you don't need a Blackbeard X. You just clip it like you would to your AR. When you pull the trigger, the hammer hits a button in the BCG, which flashes the laser and then activates a solenoid, which resets the trigger. Powered by the batteries in the magazine. So don't let this drop during reload drills. They are plastic and they will break and they will run $75 each or more. You can do mag changes with the Blackbeard, kinda, sorta. My solution, which I'm still investigating, is to cut the top inch or so off of the top of a regular magazine because only the Blackbeard magazine can latch with the Blackbeard BCG in place. Simulate the first shot, drop the magazine, then reload the actual Blackbeard magazine and do laser shots after that. These two I do not own, so all you're getting is my impressions from my sharp eye. Coolfire sells a sidekick system for $450 that does what the Blackbeard does with reduced recoil. It uses CO2, just like this. And you can do magazine changes. It uses an AR version of the tap rack tool I mentioned earlier in this video. The Cert People sells a stick, STIC, which is an AR frame for $200. You insert a Cert pistol into it, and now you have an AR clone. It has an adjustable barrel length, so you can practice as a rifle or a carbine. The bad news is the magazine is friction fit, so no realistic magazine changes. And that's it for the Uprange stuff. That's what I have. That's what I know. Come on back next week for the downrange stuff. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. If you made it this far, thank you. If you liked this content, please hit the like button to show your support. Help me get the word out by subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to turn notifications on so you know when I post new content. If you think this content would help your friends, the share button helps you get it out to your social media. Comments mean a lot to me, good or bad. Please leave one. All right, go forth and have a most excellent day.